Hey, scrappy people. Tracy Reed here today, back after a little bit of a break. Recharge my creative battery for day 20 of December Daily. Today I'm going to be scrapbooking about my youngest baby's band concert. He plays the saxophone, and so of course we have to have a full page photo of his very first concert. So I have printed this at, it looks like 8.5 by 5. And I also have on the other side a family photo of the same moment. And then I have some pockets for some other photos. I really liked this solo photo of him too. And then in here, there are two 4x6 dimension photos. I'm gonna create a flip up here of this moment in his winter concert. And then over here, this is a page that I created in my December daily prep videos. It has two envelopes. I've been really wanting to use it, but I didn't know what to use it for exactly, so I found a good page for it. And in here we're going to have journaling in this card that I pre-made, and then in here I actually have his the flyer for the winter concert that you can open up and all of that. 6th grade band. All right, so I did take the washi tape off of these envelopes. It's the day before Christmas, you guys. I'm done. I took the washi tape off of these envelopes because they were sticking to the photo, because they weren't, perfectly adhered. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna bother making it so these stick down or not, or just let them fly in the wind. I'm probably just gonna let them fly in the wind, because I don't really have a like an adhesive that would allow you to open and close it. So I'm just gonna let it be, I think, and then I'm gonna do a nice sort of simple page to document this moment. So let's get started. Sometimes when I am using pockets, I have a hard time doing what for me feels interesting. And what I mean by that is not necessarily that, it's a new crazy technique that's going to make everyone gasp, but mainly what I mean by it is actually that it's going to make me feel like completing the page was interesting, that I didn't just finish it by default almost. And when I'm scrapbooking, especially when I'm doing something like December Daily, which is requiring a lot of focus, a lot of effort, a lot of time commitment throughout a very busy month, I like to make it worth it for me, and by that I mean, interesting. So when I was approaching this spread and I knew I wanted a flip up here because I had two 4x6 photos, I didn't know, how do I make it different? How do I make my brain go, I like this? And what I came up with was creating a shaker pocket on this fairly boring photo that doesn't even have my kid in it, because my kid was sitting in the back. I was going to make a shaker pocket for this photo just to make it more interesting, and I still had all of that glitter and sequin mix sitting on my desk from when I was making these foundation pages. So I was like, you know what, let's just throw the whole thing at it. Let's dump some of this sequin mix into this pocket. So then what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that it goes on both sides of the card, because I want it to be a shaker pocket on both sides. I'm going to get that pearl out of there so that it's less bulky. And this is actually just a Traveler's Notebook size page protector from the Life Crafted album, and I put it aside because I needed my fuse tool to warm up, so I'm going to close it with my fuse tool. And then I decided that I have these old gold vellum stars, and I'm pretty sure they're from an old Cocoa Daisy collection from last year, or yeah, I think they're probably from last year's winter collection. Then I also have that plastic up there, that acrylic that says winter, and I'm pretty sure that's also from the same collection. And I just had those in my Christmas stash for a while, and since this is his winter concert and gold stars make sense, I decided to use them on this page with the Frost and Frolic collection. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pulling apart the two photos so that you'll have to excuse my hair, because I had my hair piled on top of my head, and so my head isn't actually in the frame, but my hair was high enough that it keeps getting in the frame, so I'm sorry. But what I'm doing here is I was just pulling apart the photos so that when I staple these vellum stars on, I'm not stapling through the other side of the photo. I chose to staple the stars because I don't like seeing the adhesive through the vellum, and also because if you use liquid glue on vellum, it will curl up the vellum. I'm going to use liquid glue on the back of these numbers, and you'll see that it curls up the vellum a little bit just being on top of it. So that was an oops on my part, but it's not that big of a deal because I do put down so much, like it covers so much surface area on the star, it still holds it down just fine. So again, I'm peeling off the chipboard on the back of these very, very thick chipboard numbers. And I decided to use the star instead of a 0, first of all because I didn't have a 0, but second of all because it just plays into the theme so well. And of course, I have to go back and forth about where I want these to be, and then I drop it, so we're committed. And oh, that hair, I'm sorry. I love my curly hair that decided to turn curly when I turned 35, but man, it is everywhere all the time. Anyway, so I'm going to use these gold acrylic stars that might even be from that same Cocoa Daisy collection. I'm not sure where they're from. Actually, no, they're definitely not. They're really old, but I'm going to put those, I'm going to glue those on there, and then I'm going to add one more star at the top just to frame the whole thing and give me a place to put winter concert. I'm going to put that winter down, and then I will use letter stickers to spell out concert. Perfect. Okay. So now I need to tackle the other side. I'm going to trim off these stars, the sides of the stars, and then I'm going to tackle the other side. I'm going to pull them apart again, so again I don't have staples going through the other side. And I wanted both sides to sort of match, and I also didn't really want to detract from either photo, so that's why those gold vellum stars were perfect for this, because they sort of blend in with the color scheme with that big wall in the background, and then also they are, you know, see-through, so you can still see the photo behind it. Then I remembered that I had more of these white glitter stickers from the collection, and so I'm going to put this moments down. Oof, but first we need to build the rest of the title, so it's going to say together, so moments together. I'm adding decorative staples at this point because I just like them. They were crisscrossing. Perfect. Now I need just one more final touch on this side, and then I can move on to the pockets. Decided not to include that snowman because it was too big and detracting, and it didn't really make much sense anyway. I mean, it is a winter concert, so it would work, but I like the star motif better. Alright, let's move on to the pockets. My fuse tool is warmed up, and do not do like me. I used like one of those normal rubber-ish mats for this, and I should have used my glass mat, but I was being super lazy and I didn't want to pull it down off the wall. And of course, I melted some of this mat, so don't be like me. Don't be lazy. Get your glass mat off the wall if you can. So I'm just going slowly but surely across this page protector and closing it up. I decided to put this word bit on the outside rather than on the inside so that you could see it even when all of the sequins were where they're supposed to be. And I really like actually how the glitter in this mix sticks to the photo, because the photo isn't really that important. It's just like, yes, it is a picture of them in concert, but like you don't need to see anyone's faces. I don't care about anyone's faces because my kid's face isn't in there. So I like how it gets all glittery all over the photo, and as it shakes around in there, it gets progressively more glittery, so I think it's a pretty cool effect. The other side is really cool too, because all of that glitter, when you flip up the flip up, it gathers at the bottom of December, and it's really neat. So I'm actually going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to create a crease in the flap. I'm just going to use that plastic flap that was, you know, the holes for the album. And I'm going to wrap it around the back of my photo. So I'm just using regular Scotch tape, all the hair, using regular Scotch tape to adhere it to the back because it is heavy, and I can't use a cardstock hinge, so I'm certainly not using washi on something so heavy. So I just use regular Scotch tape, and I need to trim it so that it is fully 4x6 and not a little bit bigger, so that it goes in that pocket, making sure to not nick the actual stitching or like the plastic stitching on flap so that the glitter doesn't leak. So you can see how all of that glitter sits down at the bottom of that December card. It's super cool. So I'm going to use these curly little white things, white stickers, to just frame in my photo. I think this might have been the hardest part of the whole process, was figuring out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to decorate these last two photos. I ended up using these white stickers, which of course I ripped apart because I'm a dork, and just some bits and pieces. The problem that I was having, and that I often have, is that I didn't want to use more word bits because there's lots of words going on already. I didn't need more titles, but a lot of what I had left over were word bits in this collection. So I do end up using some, like I end up using that word fun. I thought that was appropriate, and I really wanted to use this loved this star, more so because it was a red star, less so because it said love this, although obviously I did love this, but I just liked the star effect with all of the stars, and I like the fact that this one had a bit of a different color on the side of the layout that was a little bit more colorful. So I'm going to staple that down just like I stapled everything else down on this page, trim off the rest of that star, and I'm going to add in some enamel dots just here and there. I added a red one there. I'm going to add the pretty blue icy ones here, and then I'm going to add a couple more on my my main photo. So that looks done to me, I think. I like the way that it looks. Super cute. Alright, let's add a couple more enamel dots here, and then, yeah, I think it will call it good. Oh, wait, make sure we put down the right color. I was going to do red. I decided to do the icy blue instead. And that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There is a link in the description box below to the blog post for this page if you are interested in the credits and the still images. And I will see you next time, because we are going to finish this December Daily album together. Almost there. All right. Thank you.